So the weekly presser dropped, and so, of course, we got some nuggets from it. Couple of things you may have missed or didn't catch as Brent Venables talked through things. So, of course, we've got to dive into that. So let's do it. Before we do that, welcome to Unfair Sports. I'm your host, Jay. Thank y'all for pulling up to the channel. This video is powered by our partners at BetUS. Check them out. They're hooking up the gamer. 150% bonus on your first deposit of $2,000 by using promo code YouTube150. So Brent Venables was asked a lot of questions directly, like there was no sugarcoating with a lot of them. And he gave some answers, especially around offensive coordinator, his visitor policy. He talked about some players and their possibilities of playing, returning, all of that. So he kind of had a few things to say. So let's kind of jump into what I feel like Brent Venables was conveying, what things some of the fans may have missed if you did check out the press conference. But I'll say this, shout out to the beat out there, George Storia, Parker Thune, Josh Callaway, all of them sitting front and center, asking the good questions and really, archiving it, I guess you could say, and typing it out and putting it on the Bird app. When I watched it, there's a lot that Brent said, man. And I'm going to be honest, when I look at him, that man looks defeated. If you did not know, I'll start off with this. He mentioned on the Rudy show on Monday night that his wife, Julie Venables, had a recurrence of cancer. It came back in May, he said. And so they've been traveling back and forth to one of the top cancer hospitals in the country up in New York. They've been going back and forth there since May for chemo and procedures. And I think he said she had surgery last week. So the reason why he wasn't at the SEC teleconference last week was because of a schedule conflict, and that schedule conflict was his wife had surgery. So pray for Venables, pray for his wife. This is definitely a trying time for that Venables family going through, this type of season and also dealing with cancer. So cancer sucks. Just FYI. Prayers up for them, but kind of want to jump in some of the real nuggets here that Venables dropped, especially, I think the main one right here is going to be the offensive coordinator. We'll talk about players after, but first off, offensive coordinator. They asked directly, is Dan Mullen your OC? Now, if you have been here for a bit, I dropped a video yesterday. It was a picture that went around as a viral picture that went around of Brent Venables. A lot of people were asking, how new was this? Is this the guy? Blah, blah, blah. Well, Dan Mullen came and did the coaches clinic last year in April of 23. He posted that picture on Instagram. It just started recirculating. Somebody put it out there, no explanation, and everybody started the assumption bug. So put the video out to explain it. And I talked also why Dan Mullen's would and would not work. You can feel free to check out that video here on the channel. But BV answered straight up on it. He said, I'm not going to comment about the details of the search. I reached out to him a year ago. So in other words, when Levy took the job last year, BV reached out. He had him come to the coaches clinic. They have a relationship. I think that was probably the number one guy he liked because he has head coaching experience and SEC experience. He reached out a year ago, and Mullen at the time decided to decline. And it sounds like Mullen really does want a head coaching job. But unfortunately this year, ain't no job showing up right now. Ain't nothing available. So to me, Mullen would be a one-year rental, depending on what jobs open up next year. I don't know, but we'll see what happens with that. But he gave you an answer that he's tried to get him, and he may still be trying. We don't know. We won't know until there's something official drops. But we know that there is a list of coaches that he's interested in. Let me know what y'all think. Hop in the comments. Let me know your thoughts. All right. He also talked about some of the players, and I think that's probably critical to dive into and what he thinks on that. But first, BetUS is hooking you all up. Thanks for sponsoring the video. 150% bonus on your first deposit of $2,000 by using our promo code YouTube150. And we know Oklahoma right now is sitting here as a 14-point dog here on BetUS. And if you want to get into action, you obviously can. They also hook you up with Gamblers Insurance. So if you decide twice a year, they give you 10% back of your net losses to keep you in the game. So if you decide you want to jump in, right ahead. They're hooking it up. 150% bonus on your first deposit, 25% bonus on your second and third deposits, up to $2,000. Use our promo code YouTube150, BetUS, where the game begins. So, as we look at this weekend, we got Bama coming up. BV had to talk about that. Of course, he talked about how, we're not playing at the standard of Oklahoma offensively. If the question was asked about recruits, his visiting policy, we'll talk about that here in a minute. But on offense, but just players in general, he did talk about that. Farouk as well as Burks were working their way back. Sounds like Jalil Farouk actually had a snaps restriction. That's why you didn't get to see a bunch of him against Missouri, and it looks like he's hoping they'll improve so that he can play this week. So it's not a bad thing. Looks like they may be both improving to a point that both of them can play. Farouk can play the last 2 games as well. That'll only give him 4. He can still redshirt, and so far it sounds like he wants to return for a 5th year here at Oklahoma. We're not going to be opposed to that. So him and Burks will play. And then BV talked about the offensive line, and the expectation is that we only got 3 offensive linemen we're going to lose. That's Tarquin, Spencer Brown, and Branson Hickman, because all of them are, if I'm correct, out of eligibility. So because of that, the sense is we'll be returning all of our linemen, and we'll bring in some more with this current class. But speaking of the current class, the visit policy, of course, came up. People asked. Now, I know a few of you do know and understand how this policy works. A lot of you don't. And so the way Brent Venable's policy works is once you commit, he has a no visit policy. And what that means is that if you commit, he says that you should be done with the process at that point. You should be staying where you're at. If you decide to visit, then in his mind, you are no longer committed to Oklahoma. But that doesn't mean they're pulling your scholarship. That doesn't mean that they're kicking you out of the class. None of that. It's just that in their mindset, you're no longer you're not committed, and you're still being recruited by not only us, but anybody else. Now, granted, we all know that players that are committed places are always committed, recruited nonstop, excuse me. And that's just how that is. That's the game of recruiting. It's a dirty game, and we're willing to play in it. So one highly touted recruit we know, Michael Fasuzi, the offensive tackle, the prize of the class, is going to be making a couple visits. He's supposed to be going to the Texas game this weekend instead of coming here for Alabama. And he's going to Texas A&M, Texas, last game of the season. And, of course, Sooner Nation has lost their mind. It's okay. Totally understand. As of what I've heard, there's no reason to have your mind lost yet. It's just a part of the game. The game is that way. The game's the game. And as of right now, all we know is that he's going to make the visit, but that doesn't mean that he's going to decommit. And what I've been told is that he said that. He's like, I'm still committed. Going to go check out some ball games. I don't know what that means. So I'm relaying what I've been told. So the stress of him decommitting is now hitting us. We're at 2 weeks out from early signing day. So, yeah, 5 stars are going to 5-star. That's just the game of it, and get used to it. But the beauty of it is, I'll say this for y'all. We ain't had that much drama this year. I mean, we're seeing other teams see a ton of people come and go. We haven't seen much drama. So we lost 2 defensive linemen, and because of certain circumstances, I'll just say that happens. But the ones that we have really been keyed in on, locked in. No words, no statements. Heck, last year when Stone committed and we lost to Kansas and Oklahoma State, everybody's freaking out, oh, David Stone's going to decommit. And he's like, we good, don't worry about it. Susie said that over and over. I'm a Sooner for life. We good, just chill. We chilling over here. We good. So let's just trust that he is the man of his word that he keeps saying and see what happens. Me personally, I'm just going to see what he says, see how it goes. And when signing day hits and he does put ink on said paper, he signed on the line, which is dotted, Gucci. So we'll see how that goes. But let me try to think. Hop in the comments. Let me know your thoughts. It appears that the Alabama game, there wasn't anything said about who the starting quarterback is. But I'm going to be honest. It feels like it's with Jackson Arnold being a captain. I feel like that's who that's going to be. So besides that, we'll dive more into that game. I'm trying to hit my guy Ty, see if I can get him on here to chop it up with you all in preparation for it. But yeah, let's see what happens, and we'll go from there. Let me know what y'all think. We will chop it up soon. Shout out to BetUS. Hooking up the game, 150% bonus on your first deposit, 125% on your second and third deposit of $2,000 by using our promo code YouTube150. Catch y'all on the flip side. Peace.